What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, September 29th, 2020, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays on this action-packed Tuesday here on Transition Tuesdays. Oh, man, we got a great show. I got a special guest. We're going to talk to him, and we're going to have some fun here as my man Charlie Nelson is joining us today. What's going on, Charlie? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. And Charlie, man, I loving what you're doing on Facebook, man, on the countdown to the election, man. I know we're on day 35, I believe it is. I love your illustrations, Charlie. Keep it up, my man. Keep it up. I'm all with you, man. I'm all with you on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I start the show, I always like to talk about my intentions for the show, and they never waver. They never change. My intentions is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. And speaking of honest conversation, I have my special guest on the line. Special guest, are you there, sir?
I am here.
All right.
I'm ready to go, Russ.
Okay.
Pleasure to be on.
Perfect.
Who this is.
There you go. Perfect. So special guest, I'm going to bring you out the right way. I'm going to read this extensive bio by my guest. I got to read this, man. So it is fascinating. So my special guest was an assistant coach at the University of Rhode Island, Ohio University, and Ohio State University, and Providence College. He was an assistant coach there. Then he served as the head coach at my alma mater, Manhattan College, where his teams won 2 MAC regular season championships. They won one MAC tournament championship. They went to the NIT 2 times, and they also went to the NCAA 2 times, making it to the second round of the NCAA tournament in 1995. This young man was also the MAC Coach of the Year in 1995. From Manhattan College, he went to coach at St. John's, where he went to the NCAA tournament in 1997-1998 season. Then from there, he coached at New Mexico for 3 years, going to the second round, the quarterfinals, and the first round of the NIT. Now, my guest currently serves as a game analyst for the ESPN's Big Monday broadcast. He's a studio analyst for ESPN college basketball programming, and he also covers the NBA draft, which focuses mainly on foreign players, in which this guy, he has the ins and outs. I don't know how he does it, but we're going to find out how he does all this, that, and the third. Ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome Mr. Fran Fraschilla to Transition Tuesdays. Coach Fran, how are you, sir?
It's a pleasure, Russ. It really is. It's great to be on with you. The only disappointment that I have being on with you is I never got a chance to coach you. You left me a year early, and but you left behind some great friends.
Yes.
And as I tell people all the time, and I can remember that first year I was a head coach at Manhattan very vividly. They said, "Well, you're having a great season. What's the secret?" And I said, Steve Lapis left me a great team behind. That's the only secret.
That's true, Coach. Because you know what the funny thing is, and I'm gonna see who else we have on there. Hey, Charlie, I appreciate it. Charlie says, greetings, Russ. He says, thanks so much for your support. It means everything, Russ. Absolutely, you got my support, Charlie, all day, my man. We got Tony joining. What's going on, Tony? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We have Lance Smith joining. What's going on, Lance? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays as well. We also got my man Will Kennedy joining us. Welcome, Will. And we also have a young lady on here by the name of Meg. She is joining us. Meg Fraschilla is joining us as well on Transition Tuesdays.
I'm impressed that she's tuning in. That's very cool.
That's right. That's absolutely. We also got my man Ronald Miller joining us. Welcome, Ronald. We got Jerry joining us. Hey, Jerry Ryan. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We got my man John Lee, one of the Jaspers, the Jasper Manhattan College, my brother from Manhattan College. We also got Karen Stewart joining us. What's going on, Karen? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. As Meg is waving at her hubby there, so that's a good thing there. And you know what, Coach, too? I have a great story about your wife, Meg, and I wish she was on here today, but I remember when you guys first got the job at Manhattan College, and I think I was the first person. I think I met Meg. I think I was one of the players, even though I was graduating, but I was one of the first players to meet Meg and you guys, which was funny.
Yeah, you know, she was, I hate to make us both sound old, but she was pregnant with our first son.
Wow.
Who was born about 4 weeks later. And that joker now, James Fraschilla, is 28 and working for the Orlando Magic. So,
whoa.
She was about 4 weeks away from giving birth to my first son, and of course both James and Matt pretty much grew up in Draddy Gym.
Yes,
as toddlers. So we have great memories of that first press conference for us. Quite frankly, driving down from Providence and you know, feeling like man, how am I going to replace Steve Lapis? But it was a great honor to be the coach of Manhattan. As you know, how much I appreciated. The incredible 4-year run we had.
Absolutely. We're gonna talk all about that. But before we do that, Coach Fran, now I can't see you, but again, I'm hearing you. You know, we hear you over the airwaves here. So, Coach, I like to bring my guests. You know, when I have a guest, I like to make them feel comfortable and at ease. You know, it's no, you know, you can just sit back in your armchair, what have you, just talk to me on the phone, right? But I'm gonna play a song for you, Coach, in which when I think of this song, I'm thinking of Coach Fran. I don't know, a Brooklyn guy. You know, I'm gonna play this song for you, Coach. You tell me if you know these guys who sang this song and like the meaning of it. Okay, hang tight for 1 second, Coach. Here we go. Can you hear that, Coach?
A little bit. It's low.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it closer. How about now?
I can hear it, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that is the Beastie Boys, and the title is No Sleep Till Brooklyn. So I know I got a Brooklynite here. I know one of the kings of Brooklyn here I got. So I just want to, you know, every time I hear this song, I think of Coach Fran. You know, No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys.
I like it. It's an amazing place to grow up, Russ. I think you're a Queens guy, right?
Yes, I'm a Queens guy. Manhattan guy. I was born in Manhattan. Then I moved here to Queens when I was 9 years old. But I'm those two boroughs, but not too much Brooklyn though.
No, in my case, I'm a guy that grew up in Brooklyn. You know, moved away from the city, came back to Manhattan College, located in the Bronx, by the way, for those of you who didn't know that.
Yes.
And then I got a chance to coach in Queens at St. John's. The only thing I missed was Staten Island, although there was a St. John's branch there. So I guess you could say I covered all the boroughs during my career. So, but no, a great place to grow up. I love coming from the Flatbush section of Brooklyn, right?
Nice.
Right down there by Sheepshead Bay and Coney Island and Brighton Beach. So it's a great place to grow up.
Nice. You know what? The one thing, like the Coney Island section, I know the July 4th, they have, you know, when life was normal, you know, people went down, to, you know, for the 4th of July, and get the hot dogs there. Oh, man, I miss, one thing, Coach, I can't stand watching it. It makes me vomit when I'm looking at that stuff, but I know it's tradition, but, you know, oh, my God.
Listen. I grew up with Nathan's now, and we didn't do it that way on the 4th of July. But my dad, when he came home with the paycheck on Friday afternoon, we all hopped in, 7 kids, and my mom and dad in a big, we used to call a station wagon, right? Before SUVs, there were station wagons.
That's right.
And oftentimes we would go down to Coney Island and go to Nathan's, and that was our Friday night entertainment. So,
and probably get on that cyclone too, right? That the cyclone was so scary because like the boats were like coming off of the ride, you know.
Hey, let me tell you something. We couldn't afford the cyclone. I was just glad to get a hot dog and fries, man.
Yep.
I was a happy camper with those Nathan's fries. So
that's cool.
Life was good. We didn't realize that we didn't realize what we had or didn't have. We just knew life was good because I rooted for the Mets, the Jets, the Rangers, and life was good, man.
Nice.
Up in Brooklyn.
Very nice. We got Ron LeClario, one of the best high school coaches here in New York City, man. Hall of Fame guy. We also
the winningest coach in PSAL history.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You got royalty showing up for Coach Fran. That's good stuff.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
We got J. Edna Nola joining us. What's going on, J. Edna? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. And we also got a young man here by the name of Chris Smooth Williams joining us today.
Oh, yeah. The guy we both know well.
Yes, we both know this guy well. Yes.
I tell people that he coached the team the first 5 games of my career in Manhattan. But I didn't know what I was doing yet. You know, I was just learning how to fly the big airplane.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my pilot's license, but I really wasn't officially. I was officially the head coach, but
right.
I would say to Chris and Big Keith Bullock, what do you want to run right here? You know, we'd be in a timeout. I'd say, what play you want to run? And it took about 5 games for me to figure out, man, I could do this. It's too hard. Hey, especially when you were throwing the ball down low to Big Keith Bullock. So
that's true.
He made me look good. He made you look good too, by the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, no doubt about that. Big Keith Bullock. Man. Yep. Good guy. Yep. Good friend of mine too, man. Still to this day, man. Yeah, good
Great
people.
I tell people, Russ, that and Meg feels the same way.
Mm-hmm.
We inherited an incredible group of guys. When we got to Manhattan College, Coach Lapis left a great, not only a great team behind, but great people off the court. And, you know, they were great ambassadors, still are, by the way. You guys are all great ambassadors of
Thank you.
A great university, you know, Manhattan College. And it's going to always have a special place in my heart. I mean, really for the rest of my life, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fantastic, fantastic. Hey, Coach, I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you and your family how you guys coping with these 3 pandemics we got going on in unison. You know, we got COVID-19, you got the economy, you also got social injustice. So how are you and your family coping?
You know, best we can. First of all, from a pandemic standpoint, physically, you know, James is in Orlando. The Magic season just ended.
Yeah.
Matt's up at Philly at Villanova with Coach Wright, and Mom is visiting right now, so she's there.
Okay.
And you know, when she's back here in Colorado Springs, where we spend our summers, we're trying to do the right thing. You know, we're trying to abide by the protocols, and we're masking it up, and we're fist bumping people, elbow bumping them.
Right.
No handshakes.
Right.
And so that's been taken care of. The social justice thing, I think, has been an incredible eye-opener, quite frankly, Russ, for white America, really. Yeah. You know, as a guy that grew up in Brooklyn around a very mixed group of religions and races.
Yeah.
And thinking I had all the answers when it came to race. You know, a lot of my black friends have told me the last couple months, and this is really what brought it home. A lot of my colleagues and friends have said, you know, you probably didn't worry too much about your kids going out on a Friday night when you gave them the car.
Right.
And they would tell me here recently in the last couple of months, I worry every weekend that my teenage son goes and borrows the car.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if they're going to get pulled over. So it's been an eye opener, and I think that it's probably opened a wound that needed to be opened. And like any wound, Russ, it's time to heal the wound.
Absolutely.
And the NBA players and the pro athletes have done an incredible job, I think, of awareness. And we gotta. You know, my thing is when people ask me, I say we just gotta all be better human beings.
Okay.
You know, that's really what it comes down to. We just gotta be better human beings. Nobody on this planet is better than anybody else, regardless of their, skin color or race or religion.
Right.
Or being 6'8" or 5'8". Nobody's better than anybody else. We need to all treat each other with the same amount of respect that we would want back in return. And hopefully that through a difficult time, we can begin to heal wounds, and we have to. We definitely have to.
We no doubt about that. No doubt about that. We have Nicole Fields joining us. My apologies if I'm mispronouncing the name. My apologies. This is a first-time listener, so I'm glad you're here. We also got my man Billy Hoffman joining us, my McClancy Crusader brother joining us. What's going on, Billy?
Wow.
Welcome to Transition Tuesday. Perfect. Hey, so Coach, we're going to talk about, we're going to go down memory lane. We're going to have some fun here tonight. But I wish I'd have your wife on because last week's episode we had Coach Lapp and his wife Harriet on. They were on the show, so it was a good get to get you this week. So I want to know the question, Coach. How did you and Meg meet? How did you guys meet, man?
That's a great question. Well, we've been happily married about 27 years, but we've been married 32.
Wow.
That's a joke.
Okay, there you go, Coach. I don't want to get you in trouble, man. You got to remember that.
She's listening right now. She's rolling her eyes. I can tell.
Yes.
But we've really known each other now 35 years because we met, 36. We met at Ohio University.
Really?
I was a young coach from Brooklyn, New York, out there working for Danny Nee, another Brooklyn guy.
Danny Nee, yes,
He had a great career. He was coaching Nebraska when you were playing in Manhattan. And so I was out at Ohio U. That's about a 9-hour drive from Brooklyn. And Meg was from Dallas, Texas, and she was in grad school in the sports administration program.
Wow.
And so we met there in 1984, 85. Wow. And we got married in 1988.
Wow.
And so it's been 32 happy years.
Man.
It's been a great partnership, great, she's been a great, she's been by my side the whole way. She's raised 2 incredible young men. Yeah. Sometimes when I was an absentee father coaching, she took care of everything. And both of those young men I'm very proud of, James and Matt. And Meg has been an incredible mother, wife, and friend to many. And we've been, I'll tell you this, I told her the other night, other than the 2 weeks or 10 days I had to do the TBT this summer.
Right, we're going to talk about that too,
Yeah, we've been together since March 11th, and we still like each other.
Yeah.
So it's gone great. And she's taken a little break being in Philly with Matt, but we've had a great relationship, and she's been a great partner of mine.
Oh, that's phenomenal. And I'm sure, when you were coaching, I'm sure she had to listen to about the wins and the losses, definitely the losses, which you bring that home, right?
Yeah, no question. Oh, yeah, no, she and what made it easy is that she's always been a sports fan and a basketball fan. So she understood the ups and downs, and we had some great ups and some downs.
Yeah.
And but you know what? We've had an incredible journey together. And the little round orange leather basketball has been a big part of that journey.
Yeah,
for
man.
our family, so it's pretty cool.
Yep, it's nothing like that little orange basketball, man. that takes you around the world. The relationships that you garner and meet people. Oh man, it's phenomenal. That basketball.
It got you a great college education.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Got me a Hall of Fame nod at Manhattan College and McConaughey High School too. So yeah, I'll take it all day.
You had a great run, man. A lot of your partners got into that Hall of Fame, deservedly so.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So I want to talk a little bit about, Coach, about your days at Manhattan College. So how were you able to get the job at Manhattan College?
Well, you know what? I've never given away the secret before, Russ.
Okay.
And I think I've told Smooth and Big Bull this, but
this is the first. Is this the first for Transition Tuesdays? Okay.
I think so. I think we're going to break some news on Transition Tuesdays.
All right, perfect. Okay.
I had a mole. I had a mole on the involved in the search process. I had a mole on the inside.
Did you?
And his name was Ryan Ford.
Ryan Ford was the mole.
So when I applied for the job right away, I got a nice letter back from Bob Burns saying that the AD that I would be a candidate, and so Ryan I'd gotten to know because he obviously played at Providence College and then he coached you at Manhattan.
Yes.
And by the time that the job opened, and Coach Lapis went to Villanova, fulfilling a great dream of his.
Yeah.
Ryan was up at Niagara, so I called Ryan and said, "What do you know about the job?" And he began to tell me about everybody at Manhattan College.
Wow.
On the inside, Brother Thomas, Joe Lee, Bob Burns, the players. And so he gave me an incredible scouting report.
Wow.
And to make a long story short, and this is a good lesson for anybody who's going after a job. A lot of times when you take over a coaching job, the team was bad, and so you have to, quote unquote, change the culture.
Right.
Well, the one thing that Ryan told me is, Coach, they don't want to change anything. They got a good team. And you have a chance to get this because just like Coach Lapis, you're a New Yorker, you've got high energy, and you've been a Big East assistant.
Yeah.
And they like the idea that you know how to recruit New York and New Jersey. And so when I went in for my interview, first with Bob Burns, and then later with the committee, I tried to make it seem like they were hiring like Steve Lapis' little brother. like we're not going to change very much. Coach Lapis and I have the same philosophies.
Right.
And these guys have already learned how to win. And I want to just add to what Coach Lapis built. And so rather than come in with a guy with a million new answers, I had the game plan.
Man.
Brian Ford gave me the game plan, and I tried to carry it out. And I was very fortunate that, Brother Thomas and Bob Burns chose me over some very capable other candidates. And that's how I got the job. So that's a little inside secret.
Wow.
I broke on your Transition Tuesdays tonight.
Oh, man, that's the inside scoop. I appreciate that. Shout out to my guy and our guy Ryan Ford, too, who was on.
You know why I can tell that? Hey, the law of the statute of limitations is up.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We got Dr. Paul Dwyer joining us. What's going on, Dr. Paul? We also got my man Richie Diabertis joining us as well. Welcome, everybody, to Transition Tuesday with my special guest, Coach Fran Fraschilla. Now, Coach, so Manhattan College, you get the job and everything, right? So talk to me a little bit about that championship run that you had, that first year that you get there. The team that you had, and I know you inserted like Brent Birmingham. Because I noticed one thing. I noticed like Brent Birmingham, he came from Brooklyn College, right? And the school was closing, and
they were D1. Now, as you recall, because you lived this, you lived this with these guys. When Coach Lapis left and I was hired, obviously a new coach, young guy, first-time head coach.
Yeah.
The guys kind of had they had the eyebrows raised a little bit, right? They wanted to know what I might be all about.
Right.
And, so I took time to get to know everybody and get to really try to dive into what kind of people these guys were. I knew I was inheriting a great group, Russ. I say that sincerely. Coach Lapis is still a very good friend of mine because I came in, gave him his due respect. That he had taken a program with guys like you, who they hadn't won in a while, and guys like you and Smooth and Kerry Wilson and Kerry Edwards and Keith and Don Elliott.
Yeah.
And they believed in Coach Lapp because let's face it, you guys built the program over the 4 years you were there.
Yeah.
So Coach Lapp, he obviously left a great foundation. I was going to bring my own enthusiasm and energy to this mix. And we were very fortunate because I went to Brooklyn College. I knew the basketball coach there.
Right.
People don't realize that for a short period of time, they were actually Division I. And Brenton was on that team, a product of Brooklyn Tech.
Yes.
And he was a terrific player at Brooklyn College. I don't know how they got him.
Right.
But he was way better. No offense to my alma mater, he was way better than the Brooklyn College. And so I got really lucky. When they closed down the school, I reached out to their coach. I let him know that we had a spot. Brenton was from the Bronx. And Russ, you know this because you got to know, Sweets, as we called them.
Yes, sir.
Sweets could have been a teammate of yours for 4 years because he fit in like a glove.
Yeah, he definitely did. He did. And matter of fact, he fit in so well, Coach, that I graduated the year before. Sweets comes in, doesn't miss a beat. They're like basically like, hey, Russ, woo. I mean, it's because.
Well, here was the tough part. The tough part, as you know, and I'm reliving some good memories, but also some tough memories. The tough part was, number one, we were fortunate to get him.
Yeah.
But also we had guys waiting their turn to step up into starring roles, like Kerry Edwards, obviously Kerry Wilson,
right?
Who brought so much energy, and even though he and I butted heads for a while, we butted heads the way Marcus Smart butts heads with Brad Stevens. In other words,
right?
And like what you loved about Kerry Wilson was his energy. His fearlessness.
Yes.
Sometimes he'd take some crazy shots, but then sometimes he'd make shots. You'd go, wow, how did he make that shot?
Yeah, defensive stopper too. Yeah.
Yeah, no question. He brought great energy. So that was the tough part because we had to kind of rejigger that lineup.
Right.
Because because Sweets fit in so well, but it's what made our team a great team that year. Mm-hmm. But here's what I remember most. And I'm gonna break another secret to you.
Okay. All right. Great.
but some of the guys already know this story. So we get to the championship game and we're playing Niagara. Okay. That year, particularly our arch rival.
Right.
Brian Clifford. Right. How good he was.
Right. Ryan Ford was there too. Right. Wasn't he Ryan there?
Yeah. And the coach, Jack Armstrong, now a great broadcaster for the Toronto Raptors.
Yes.
Jack grew up down the street from me in Brooklyn.
Man.
The Armstrongs, a family of 5 or 6, and the Fraschillas, you got to remember I'm half Irish. We were friends. We all knew each other. And here we were. We grew up about 100 yards from each other. I'm coaching against him in the MAC final.
Oh, man.
Now, we're down 10 at the half, and Big Bull brings us back. Mm-hmm. And 2 things happened at the very end of that game that not a lot of people know. Number 1, we practiced a play from about January 1st till the end of the season. We called it winner. And I told the guys, I said, we're not going to run this play until we need a basket. There's going to be a point somewhere in the season where we're going to save this play for a big basket. And with about 10 seconds to go, Niagara called timeout.
Okay.
And all the guys came to the bench, and everybody said it. Bull, Smooth, Sweets. Mm-hmm. Coach, got to run winner. Time to run winner. Mm-hmm. So we run the play, and we get Big Bull the shot we wanted on the low post. And here comes our man Chris Williams out of nowhere. A 6'4" point guard grabs an offensive rebound and gets fouled with about a second and a half to go. Now, that's the first secret. Winner. We practiced it, and nobody knew we had that in our game plan.
Right.
Here's the second secret that nobody knew. When I signed my contract at Manhattan College, because it's expensive to live in New York City, Brother Thomas and Mr. Burns had a clause in my contract that said, we're going to give you a $50,000 loan to help you with your mortgage. If you ever go to the NCAA tournament, that loan will be forgiven.
Really?
I never thought about that clause the entire season. Okay? And so Chris Williams gets fouled with a second to go, and he's got 2 free throws. And he goes to the line, and he misses the first. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself for the first time all year, damn, this is a $50,000 free throw coming up. And Chris made the second, and they threw it down court. We celebrated prematurely. They didn't get a shot up.
Right.
We win the MAC title. And unfortunately, you weren't on the court to share with us.
Right.
Because of all the work you put in. But for the first time in 38 years, Manhattan was back in the big dance.
Yeah, man. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And Chris says here, he says, I usually don't rebound. That's what he says, too. So that was a surprise, I guess, to him to get that ball.
You know what it honestly was? The whole play was designed. If Bull makes the shot, great. But the whole play was designed to grab an offensive rebound. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so Chris set a back screen, I think, for Jamal going to the basket. Mm-hmm. And he set that back screen in the lane, so he was still in the lane.
Man.
And so he was right in the right spot. And and so it was great timing. And, of course, we got to the tournament. And, it's one of the highlights of my life just because as a young head coach,
definitely,
you don't get a chance to coach in the NCAA tournament. We did it again in '95.
Yeah.
But to credit to guys like you who really, Charlie Duper, guys who put so much hard work in with Coach Lapis when there was no success prior to you guys getting there for a long time.
Definitely. I'm from the era, Coach, of the one bleacher. I was talking about that with Coach Lap. We just had one bleacher when I was a freshman, and that was for like family, friends, and custodials. Custodial staff. That was it, man. And we didn't even fill that up.
Well, listen, when Coach Rapp left Villanova to go to Manhattan, I was like, this guy's crazy. Mm-hmm. Why is he going there?
Yeah.
And, he saw a vision, as you know quite well, Brother Thomas and Bob Burns saw the vision along with Coach Lapis.
Definitely.
You guys who chose to pick Manhattan College, because of Coach Lapis saw the vision, and the rest is history. It's been a pretty good run since the late '80s, really, for Manhattan basketball. By and large, we've had some really good teams, so it's been fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got Keisha joining us from the D. What up, Doe? What up, Keisha? And also, Chris is responding again. Chris says Coach, you owe me $25K.
Hey, Russ, the greatest thing about that, 2 free throws, I'll never forget this. Chris goes to the line, and I think Chris that year was probably 78%, maybe 80. He's gonna probably let you know right now.
Yes, I'm sure.
Chris was a very reliable free throw shooter, and when he missed, I'll never forget this as long as I live. He had a look on his face like, how the hell did that not go in? I'm Chris Williams. How the hell did that not go in? I'll never forget that. He had that look like, I'm not supposed to miss this first one. But sure enough, man, he made the second one, and he goes down in Manhattan College history as the man that put us in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely. Man, oh man. And Coach, speaking about your coaching exploit, Coach, so you coach all of these Hall of Famers from Manhattan College. You coach Keith Bullock, Brandon Birmingham. Yeah, Chris was a Hall of Famer. Jamal Marshall, Carrie Edwards, all these guys.
Carrie Edwards is going in, right?
Yes, Carrie Edwards is going in. Yep, Yep.
And listen, you know what? I was so glad when I got the news this summer that Carrie Edwards was going in, because the year after Chris and Bull left, we were kind of rebuilding. Yeah. But still had good players. We had Brendan Birmingham and Carrie back. Yeah. And we had some good young players. I think that was my first class with Tariq Thacker. And of course, Keaton was a sophomore, obviously. Yeah. Brendan O'Brien and Jason Hoover. And that's right. Carrie Edwards and Brendan Birmingham both got hurt late in the season. Wow. Although we would have won the title. Now, we ended up losing in a very close game to Coach Prosser in Loyola, Maryland. Right. But we were wounded by them. But let me tell you, you know this because you were his teammate for 2 years. Carrie Edwards was like Marcus Smart in that you could go to war with him anytime, any place. Absolutely. Carrie, I tell people all the time, Coach, I think pound for pound, Carrie Edwards was the best player at Manhattan College, based on his, pound for pound. A guy 6'5", 220, solid. Yeah. He could defend everybody, and everything like that. So, the funny thing about Carrie Edwards, I remember the day he got hurt. I remember I was in the stands, and I remember he blurted out to me, he says, Russ, I'm coming for you, man. He was coming to get my score, and I scored 1140 points. He was 2 points away, and then he got hurt. But I remember him saying, "Hey, Russ, I'm coming for you tonight, man." And then he got hurt. Listen, but we butted heads on occasion in practice because both he and Kerry Wilson, I would describe them as hard-headed. Yes. You know what I mean? Sure, definitely. And they would say the same thing about themselves right now too, I would imagine. Absolutely, and I'm sure Coach Lapis would say the same thing about those two guys. No doubt about it. But you wanted to go to war with both of them, and then Carrie Edwards had a great senior year before getting hurt. And, man, I'm so happy he's going into Hall of Fame because, to your point, man, he might have been the best two-way player of all you guys. Absolutely. Because he could give it to you on the defensive end. Remember, he could play inside. He could play on the perimeter. He could play two-guard. He could play power forward. Yep. He was a very, I'll tell you who he would be like today. He'd be like Draymond Green. Absolutely, yes. No doubt about it. He was a Draymond Green kind of player with the same kind of, attitude and competitiveness. Yeah. He reminded me a lot of Jason Richardson, the guy who played at Michigan State. They kind of like same type of body type. You know what I mean? Yeah, that reminded me of that big time. We got we got Tony Charles is joining. My man Tony Charles joining us here. Tony, what's up, Tony? Yes. Part of our Manhattan College coaching staff. Absolutely. Yeah. Last year was at Bishop Ford High School and not Bishop Ford, Bishop Auckland. Yep. And Tony was a great addition. We got Tony right out of the high school ranks. Yes. At All Hallows, and was a great player at Columbia back in the day. Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about it. We got Chris. Chris continues to chime in, Coach. Chris says he says, Coach Fran, he says, I owe you one win. He says, at Siena, you wanted a timeout, and I convinced you we had it under control, but we didn't. Yeah. No. See, it's nice of Chris to say, but I lost a night. That's probably the worst, one of the worst losses of my career because I was. You'll like this, Russ. I was 8-1 against Siena. Doremus Bennerman, Mike Dean, you name them. I was 8-1 against those jokers. That was our big rival.
Right.
And I lost a 19-point halftime lead in that game.
Ooh.
First of all, I should have played Pete Philo more, who was a terrific young player.
Yeah.
He was back home in Albany. He played great in the first half. He never got back in. And then I had Jamal Marshall at 6'10" at the back of my press. And it's like the only time ever Siena pressed us. And we lost a 19-point lead, and I take full responsibility.
Man.
Yeah, but you know what? Chris won us more games with his leadership than he thinks he lost us, and he certainly didn't do it that night. That was all me.
Oh, man, okay. That's a noble thing, Coach. I hear that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so, Coach, so that 93 team, I mean, you guys lost Virginia, but a phenomenal year that year.
Yes.
So let's fast forward to that 95 team, that team in which you guys, got to the you got number one, first of all, you guys got an at-large bid to get to the tournament. That was like a first, like ever. We never had a MAC team get an at-large bid and not only make the tournament, but win a game in the tournament. So talk to me a little bit about that year.
Well, we had a dominant team. We didn't know how good we were. We really didn't. I had my staff and I, Eddie Beglane and Brian Cousins, we recruited really well. And we didn't know how good Ashimu Evans was. This little fat kid from D.C., Travis Lyon.
Yes,
Say that jokingly. Travis was 6'3", 250 when we recruited him.
Yep.
And I had to have him. I started recruiting Travis his junior year at DeMatha. I said, this is a Manhattan guy.
Wow.
And, guys like that. So it was really interesting, Russ. The year before, we had lost at Wagner. And competitive game, 93, 94 season. And then, of course, we opened the 95 season with Wagner and Fordham, okay? So we didn't have really a revenge game with Wagner. We just didn't want to lose to them again.
Right.
And the next game, I think, was Fordham. And we beat the daylights out of both teams. And I was always a very gracious winner and loser. We were up like 48-13 at the half against Wagner and like 45-15 against Fordham. It was crazy. It was crazy how good that team started out. And the reason we got off to such a great start was, number one, we didn't know how good the team was. But number two, we were fearful that we would come out of the gate 0-2. Well, that didn't happen. These kids were legit. And we had a dominant regular season. We took St. John's to the wire in the Garden. 19,500 like the old days.
Man.
Lost to Felipe and Zenden. We got screwed on a couple bad calls. But the Garden was rocking that night.
Yes.
And then that was our first loss of the season, I believe. And then, we were 25-4 in the regular season, and we beat St. Peter's twice by like 18 each time. And in the championship game, I got to tell you, the pressure.
Yeah.
You felt it, I think, when you guys, your senior year, you played LaSalle, right?
Right, correct. Yes.
So you know the pressure of one and done. That was like Game 7.
Yep.
What you did and what we did in the MAC tournament was like playing Game 7 in the championship game.
Yeah.
And to St. Peter's credit, they played great. We played great. They played a little bit better, and I think we lost in double overtime. It was definitely overtime.
Right. Okay.
But we lost in an overtime game. Give them credit; they played like out of their mind.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we had to wait around for 6 days, and sure enough, we celebrated like hell over in East Hill.
Yeah.
when we got selected, and then honestly, we were really well prepared for Oklahoma. We had 2 weeks off, 12 days. And I'll never forget this. At halftime, I think we were up 6 or 8, and I told these guys in the locker room, I said, "You guys realize you're the better team, right?" Now this Oklahoma team had beaten 4 ranked teams in the Big 8 that February.
Yeah.
They had a great player by the name of Ryan Miner, who wound up being a Major League Baseball player.
Baseball guy. Yeah, very good basketball player. Yes.
Yeah, here's a piece of trivia. Who replaced Cal Ripken in the Orioles lineup after Cal Ripken played 2,500 straight games.
I guess it was that gentleman, right?
Ryan Miner.
Wow.
So I'll never forget with about 2 minutes to go. And by the way, we were so deep that year that we had 4 starters out, like sitting on the bench for much of the second half because Tariq Thacker was great.
Yeah.
Justin Phoenix was great. Geronimo Bucero was great.
Yes,
Travis Lyons was great. Hey, Russ, these guys came off the bench for us. That's how good we were.
Man, yeah, that's what Chris talks about. That Chris he says that second unit was good enough to win in the conference, to win the conference. Yeah,
maybe. And I'll never forget. With about a minute to go, there was a timeout, and I brought everybody in. I said, I don't want to. We were up like 50.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want anybody jumping around celebrating like this is some big upset. I said, you were the better team tonight by far.
Definitely.
So shake their hand. Don't celebrate. We'll celebrate in the locker room. And we did.
Man.
We should have beat Arizona State except for a bad call.
Yeah, and I remember that.
And here's another secret for your listeners. You ready for this?
What else? You're gonna break another one? Another exclusive on Transition Tuesday? There you go, Coach. Go ahead, sir.
Say, oh man, you're better than Dan Rather, man. You stories here. But there was an official that refereed Big East games and MAC games. And you may remember his name. He was a chunky Irish guy from Boston by the name of Joe Mingle.
Yes, I remember Joe Mingle. Yes, I do.
Okay. Manhattan College had 5 losses that year. Joe Mingle did our St. John's game. Joe Mingle did our St. Peter's championship game. And I was sitting on the bench before the game against Arizona State, and Brian Cousins said to me, Coach, who's officiating tonight? I said, I'm not sure. I didn't see. And out comes Joe Mingle. And there was a bang charge block. Justin Phoenix scored. It should have been an N1. It should have been a block. We should have been up 4 or 3 with a chance to extend it. And JP going to the line. And Joe Mingle called a charge. And 18,000 in the pyramid went crazy because we were on the verge of upsetting Arizona State. Then later, we'd have been in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
And so I had 5 losses this year. I wish Joe Mingle nothing but good health. I hope he's still alive in Boston.
Right.
But Manhattan College had 3 losses that year. 5 losses, excuse me. Joe Mingle refereed 3 of them.
Oh my God, man!
All controversial finishes, I might add.
Right, all of them. Man,
I should have told Joe Mingle that I was Irish too. He didn't realize.
Yay!
I'm half Shaughnessy.
Yeah, you're half Irish, right? You know that should have helped you out with some of the calls. At least 2 of them.
Joe was Irish. He should have known I wasn't Italian. I'm half Irish, but. That's how life works, but it was a great season.
Man, that's good. And it's funny we talk about Justin Phoenix because, like Chris just mentioned, today is Justin Phoenix's birthday today. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't know if JP's down in the bubble not or still, but I got to wish him a happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you, Smooth. I just corresponded with him a couple weeks ago, and he was down in the bubble, so I will remember to reach out to JP and wish him a happy birthday.
Yeah, because he works for the NBA, like the replay center, I believe he works for, man.
He does, and he has been in the bubble since the beginning of the reset. Hey, here's a really cool JP story for you.
Okay, what you get? Because I'm gonna have JP on a future episode of the show too. But no, what you got, Coach?
You got to have him soon because he's going to tell you all about being in Disney State Prison,
also
known as the Bubble.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because he's been on lockdown for 3 months.
This is true.
But Coach Lapis recruited JP, and I inherited JP as an incoming freshman.
Right.
And all I did for 2 years was yell at him, and he frustrated me. I could never get him to play to his full potential. So I yelled at him for 2 years. And first practice of his junior year, I'm yelling at him. And after practice, I said, I had enough. I call him over in Jatty Gym.
Okay.
Underneath the basket near the parking lot. Right?
Oh, okay. I know the basket quite well.
And I said, JP, man, I can't do this another year. What do I got to do to get you to play harder? He goes, Coach, stop yelling at me. And I go like this. Okay, I'm going to try that. And the next 2 years, his junior and senior year, and especially his senior year, where he started, because he was really a starter.
Yes.
Even on the '95 team, he was a starter.
Mm-hmm.
But the next 2 years, JP was great. He was great, and anytime I wanted to yell at him, I just bit my tongue.
Man.
And it just taught me a lesson. Some guys like Ted Ellis or Chris Williams, you could yell at them, they'd look at you, think you were crazy, but wouldn't overreact. With JP, he shut down. So once I stopped yelling at him, I learned a great lesson.
Man,
because everybody has to be coached differently sometimes.
Yeah, that's good coaching, man. Listen, the communication, there you go.
I was on my final. It was now or never with JT.
Right.
It was either me or him, and I decided to listen to him and coach him and not yell at him. And he had 2 great years. Man,
that is phenomenal, man. hey, so Coach, so you coached all of those Hall of Famers. How was it for you being a Hall of Famer, like you going into the Jasper Hall of Fame? How was that feeling for you?
Russ, I've done many cool things in my basketball career, broadcasting and coaching. Manhattan College, by far. I said this to Meg. We had a meeting the day I left Manhattan to go to St. John's with the players. And everybody was up in my office, up on the second floor in Dratty. And it was really hard to leave. I left great guys behind. And I told Mrs. Fraschilla, I said, this may be the best 4 years of our whole coaching career that we just had.
Wow.
And honestly, I coached at St. John's. I coached at New Mexico, 18 years at ESPN. 4 best years of my adult life as a basketball person, being in Manhattan. And so to go into the Hall of Fame, I think you had to be a coach for 5 years. And they made an exception.
There you go. They made an exception for a big winner like yourself, Coach.
Well, you know what? It's because I had great players, Russ. Honestly, I inherited them. We recruited them, and it was a great thrill not only to get into the Hall of Fame, but because so many of those guys were responsible for it. And obviously, a lot of the guys, the key guys, have gotten in, along with me. So that's gratifying. But when I think of it, it's there've been a number of golden eras of Manhattan basketball here in the last 25 years. But I'm proud of the 4 years I spent, the guys I was with, the assistant coaches. Ed Beglane didn't get the credit maybe he deserved.
I remember Coach Beglane when I was recruited out of Monsignor McClancy High School, and he was at Niagara. He was my first home visit. He was the first guy that came in, Coach Beglane, and then later on he coaches me in Manhattan. Yeah.
And I'm sure Coach Beglane did for Coach Lapis. What he did for me is that when we went crazy on the players, he was always the guy that would call you over and go, "Listen, it's going to be okay."
Yes, that was Coach. Yep, that was definitely Coach.
So he had, he had a great role on those coaching staffs, and then then Tony Childs joined us later, and Sean Cleary was our grad assistant, and great leadership. I mean this sincerely. One of the things that made Manhattan College basketball such a great job was because Coach, not Coach, but he was a coach, but Bob Burns, and then of course Brother Thomas. They had a great vision. When they hired Coach Lapis, they had a great vision. They wanted to be good. And they gave us the resources to be able to recruit and travel to tournaments and to be first class. And but I think it started with Brother Thomas and Bob Burns. They were great leaders for Manhattan College.
Yeah, they were definitely the maestros for the program. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We got Amy joining us here on Transition Tuesdays. Amy, my Jasper sister, joining us. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Hey, so Coach, let's transition to. From Manhattan College, you go to St. John's. I know that, big time program, and you guys make the tournament, in 97, 98 season. And I think Ron Artest he was the big guy, there, right? During that time?
Well, he was a freshman, but remember, that was the year that we got Felipe and Zenden and Tyreek Turner into the NCAA tournament.
That's right. Yes. So, talk to me a little about Felipe Lopez. I mean, the star power of that guy, man, and the other players, too.
Well, listen, you know what? They did a great 30 for 30, the Dominican Dream on Felipe.
That was great. That was phenomenal. Yep.
And I happened to be a part of it. It was fun. It was fun resurrecting it. It's funny, growing up in Brooklyn, I never wanted to be the coach at St. John's. I never did. It wasn't a dream. And I always wanted to coach at Ohio State, Notre Dame, places outside of the city, and didn't even want to come back to the city to be a college coach except Manhattan. I thought, you know what, Coach Rappis won there. Maybe I can keep it going.
Right.
And so I didn't think I'd ever get the St. John's job. They had a lot of people that turned it down. I was the golden boy of New York City at the time.
Yes.
I get hired. Great thing about it, Russ, was all my recruiting contacts, the high school coaches, Coach Kenneth McClancy, Coach Kern at Malloy, Coach Murray up at Cardinal Hayes, so on and so forth. They were all in my wheelhouse because I knew them as an assistant coach at Providence,
right?
Being a Brooklyn guy, then becoming the coach at Manhattan, getting Jason Hoover from Malloy, getting getting Tony Childs and John Carey were coaching at All Hallows, and Tariq Thacker was in my first recruiting class. So when I went to Manhattan, my connections were all in place. And Mr. Lorch, Ruth Almeida.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of help from those people,
Okay.
We got Ron Artest and Reggie Jesse and Chudney Gray came over, who originally signed to Manhattan.
Yep. And Coach, we got a guy Matthew saying, don't forget Bootsy Thornton too.
I left him behind, man, at St. John's. I'll tell you what happened. Here's an interesting story. I couldn't. This is just this is another inside scoop here.
There we go. We getting it all. We getting all the smoke here. There we go, Coach.
a couple weeks after I went over to St. John's, Hashimu Evans called me, and he said, "Coach, I think I want to transfer. I think I can play at the highest level." And I said, "Shimu, I think you can." I said, "But I can't take you away from Manhattan College.
Right.
If you decide you want to transfer, I don't think I can bring you to St. John's. It'll just be a bad look."
Yeah.
And so he said, "Do you think I could play at Kentucky?" And I said, because I had sent him and Travis Lyons to work their campus counselors the year before.
Really? Okay.
And I said, "Yeah, I think you can play at Kentucky, but you're going to be a role player. They're going to press. They're going to play 9 guys. You can definitely be in a 9-man rotation." I called Coach Pitino. I said, "Listen, would you take him?" He goes, "Absolutely." He goes, "He came to our camp. Our players loved him." And Big Shimu had 2 more years.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I often wonder what would have happened if I took him to St. John's. But, Russ, I couldn't do that to Manhattan College.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So I made a deal with Mr. Burns. I said, "Well, can Chudney Gray come?" Now, you think of Chudney Gray on that Manhattan team with Shimu and Travis as juniors, right?
Ooh.
And the guys I was bringing in, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So anyway, I went to St. John's, and we had good recruiting classes. And I think you might know the story. Like, I interviewed at Arizona State. They were going to double my salary. And I wasn't interested in going, but Dickie B, Sonny Vaccaro, John Calipari all said, "You should look at that job." So I looked at it. I talked to the AD. That AD, by the way, happens to be the AD at Duke right now, Kevin White.
Wow.
who's had a great career. He's the AD at Notre Dame. And one of the reasons that I actually interviewed with him is because I thought someday I could go from Manhattan College to Notre Dame. That was my dream.
Really?
And we scheduled them. If you remember this, you were an alum by then. But we beat Notre Dame in '94 out in South Bend.
Yes, Carrie Edwards. I remember you telling me the story. Yeah,
Carrie and Sweets carried us. It was a Saturday afternoon. And in '95, '96, the year that we were wounded with having to suspend Keaton and Ted and Justin was hurt. He got his finger caught in a weight room accident. We bring Notre Dame into the Garden, and Travis Lyons destroyed Pat Garrity, who ended up having a great career in the NBA. And so I always thought the dream was going to be the head coach at Notre Dame. And I said, I'm going to interview with Kevin White because I think this guy might be the AD at Notre Dame someday.
Right.
So I interviewed. I turned it down. Believe it or not, 2 years later, Kevin White's named the AD at Notre Dame. The priest at St. John's, his name is not deserving of telling you who he was, got mad at me, and about 5 weeks later decided to make a change.
Wow.
And so, and they could say, well, he was verbally abusive. And from the guys I coached at Manhattan College that wasn't true. I was just a tough, energetic guy.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, I was hurt. My career was, I was one of the hot young coaches in the country.
Yeah.
But they've never been the same at St. John's.
Yeah. Yep. Man.
And so,
That's a good point.
In Italian, when you grow up in Brooklyn, we have a phrase, we call it Italian amnesia.
And what's that, Coach?
You forget everything but the grudge. So now I don't root against St. John's.
Right.
But I'm never disappointed when they don't win, because we would have been in the Final Four with not Felipe, but Ron Artest, Barkley, Lucy. That team went to the Elite Eight, and then it went downhill a couple of years later when the guy that replaced me stopped recruiting, city kids and Catholic League kids, and then they got into NCAA trouble. And had I stayed there, I don't know if I would have stayed there how long, but I could have probably been the coach of the Knicks, honestly. But the man upstairs had a different plan for me.
Yes.
I had 18 great years at ESPN.
Man, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We got my man Ross joining us. Hey, Ross, I didn't forget you, man. We got you still, man. And also we got my man Larry Farmer Jr. joining us. You remember Larry Farmer, right, for the UCLA days and coaching?
Let me tell you something about Larry's dad, and I might be mistaken here, but Larry's dad he played for 3 seasons, because I don't think freshmen were eligible when he played at UCLA with the great Bill Walton.
Right.
But Larry Farmer, I think, only had 2 losses in his whole career.
Well, he told us 2 weeks ago, because he was on the show 2 weeks ago. He only had that 1 loss, just one.
1 loss.
Yep.
So was it 88-1 or something crazy?
Yep.
Right?
It was 89-1 to be precise.
There you go. So Larry Jr., shout out to your dad, man.
Yes. Oh man, that is perfect. Perfect stuff, man. Oh man. Hey, so Coach, you had the St. John experience. Now, Coach, can you give us, because you're great with the stories, Coach. Do you have a good Ron Artest story that you might have had while you coached him at St. John's? Is there anyone
I got 100 of them.
Give us your best one here on Transition Tuesdays, Coach.
All right, so here's the deal with Ron, okay? Ron, right?
Yes.
When I saw him play and I got to St. John's, and I knew Mr. Lorch was always great to me, Riverside. We had Stevie McDowell and kids who played for Riverside.
Right.
And so that year when Ron was going to be a senior, there was a kid who was pretty good at Christ the King by the name of Lamar Odom.
That's right.
and Ron Artest. And I said, we can only take one of them at St. John's, because they're not going to play with each other. They were rivals. They were friends, but they were rivals.
Yeah.
I said, we got to have Ron Artest. And I thought his energy level would jumpstart St. John's basketball.
Absolutely.
5 years out of the tournament, I said, we got to have this kid. And people said, now, he's got a temper. I said, oh, yeah. I saw it out at BCI in Arizona one year when he was a sophomore, when he pushed one of his teammates down a flight of bleachers.
Oh, my God.
I saw that. So I said, I know, but I love his energy and I love his tenacity.
Yep.
And I know deep down he's a good kid.
Yeah.
I know he's a Queensbridge kid. So we recruited him. We were in a heavy recruiting battle with Leonard Hamilton at Miami. And you know what? Leonard is a smart man. He's a good friend. He's still going strong.
Yeah.
We had some ins with Ron, and Leonard was working Queensbridge also, okay?
Okay.
He had Hank Carter, and he had some other people in the black community working for him, trying to get Ron out of the city.
Wow, Hank Carter from the Wheelchair Classic, that guy. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Hank was nice to me, but he was working for my man Leonard.
Right.
At the end of the day, what kept Ron home was his loyalty to Queensbridge. He wanted to be close to home. He wanted to be somebody who could come out of Queensbridge, go to St. John's, help us restart the program. And then obviously it's exactly what he did. So here's the one thing I always tell about people. People ask me about Ron. They go, how did you coach him? Right. And I say this affectionately.
Okay.
I said, when you coach a city kid, you got to be crazier than him. And what Ron did was he respected me, that I could get on his ass and coach him. Because a lot of people were afraid of Ron. He's 6'7", he's 240.
Yep.
He had the temper. I'm 5'7", I'm about 170 back then. And he could have crushed me like a grape, right?
Right.
But I never let him get the best of me when it came to coaching him. So if I was unhappy with something, I would get on his ass. And afterwards, I'd get him off to the side and say, you understand now, I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are.
Right.
I'm never going to let you cut corners here and take shortcuts. And you know what? We had a good relationship for the year I coached them. The next year, Ron, and by the way, Bootsy joined us that year. We redshirted him.
Okay.
My second year at St. John's, Bootsy joined us in December from junior college. He got eligible. I could have played him, and I said no. We got Felipe, we got Zendon, we got Ron, we got Tyrone Grant. We got 2 more years coming up with Bootsy, so I redshirted Bootsy the second half of that year. And then Bootsy went on and had a great career. So basically, Russ, I look back at St. John's, and they made a huge mistake letting me go. I can say that now with no malice in my heart.
Sure.
Because I honestly think we would have won a national title there. The program would not have slipped off the map like it did under Mike Jarvis. I hate to say his name, but that's just the reality.
Yeah.
We're still friends. My man Norm Roberts had it going.
Yep.
But he refused to break a rule or two here and there. And by the way, when he left, and no offense to Steve Lavin, who's also a friend, but Norm Roberts left behind Justin Burrell, DJ Kennedy, Paris Horn. He left behind some really good players. They didn't let him finish the job.
Man.
The same president did to Norm what he did to me. And no offense to Coach Lavin, because that was really the best team he coached. Was Norm's guys. And so I like Mike Anderson. Hopefully they get it going, but it's been 20 years now, and they just never have gotten it back to where when I took over at St. John's, they were the 4th winningest program in basketball history in college.
Yeah.
And now they're like 15th or 20th just because they haven't won in so long.
Right, man. And Coach, what was the name of that Italian, what was that, the Italian grudge? What was that called again?
Oh, Italian amnesia. You forget everything but the grudge.
There you go. But that's still there. Okay, gotcha.
I know you got a lot of Italian friends from Queens, so you dropped that on them. Too.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I definitely be using that Italian amnesia. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Hey, so Coach, I don't want to bypass New Mexico, but I just want to continue going forward because New Mexico, you had a good run there. I'm sure that was a good.
We were a fish out of water. We really were. We were we were at New Mexico quickly. I'll tell you because it got me into TV. I replaced a coach who went to Baylor and then had all the scandal at Baylor, and he left New Mexico. When we got there, we were on NCAA probation.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
So I had to deal with probation, and they lost, and they graduated a great player by the name of Kenny Thomas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I remember Kenny Thomas, yeah.
So Kenny left, the coach left, and we had to pick up the pieces. And my coaching staff, by the way, was Darren Savino, who's now associate head coach at UCLA.
Okay.
Joe Dooley, who was a terrific assistant coach at Kansas for Bill Self, and he's now the head coach at East Carolina. Wow. And Troy Weaver is the general manager of the Detroit Pistons.
Really, man?
And one of my good guards was a kid named Eric Chatfield. And I don't know if you remember the name Michael Chatfield, but he was a schoolyard legend in Queensbridge.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay. I didn't know.
And Eric played at LaSalle High School with Ron Artest. We got Eric to come out of junior college, played for us for 2 years, played in Europe for 12. And his stepson, Andre, was a teammate of my son Matt's at Harvard, and Andre's doing great. So we brought Eric out to New York. Anyway, after 3 NIT seasons, I had a chance to go to ESPN. I wanted a lifestyle change.
Okay.
And you know, Russ, I wanted to watch the boys grow up.
Right.
And I thought I'd go back to coaching, and I just decided that my boys needed me at home. No, for no other reason other than I just wanted to hang out with them. ESPN was great to me.
Sure.
And I stayed at ESPN all these years, and now the kids are doing great. Meg and I got a great life, and I'm getting ready for another season at ESPN. We're not sure what's going to happen with the season, but we're ready to go.
Man, that is phenomenal there. As my man Matthew, see, we got Matthew Marner in here. He's our fact checker here, Coach. He talks about that coach at Baylor was Dave Bliss.
Yeah, no, I don't want to bring up his name because obviously. And by the way, the young man, if you remember, there was a murder at Baylor.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
And the player that was murdered was a kid that actually played for me at Mexico.
Wow.
And Patrick Dennehy. And when I left to go to TV, quite frankly, what happened was some of the kids that were still on the team said, "Hey, when I left, hey, if you go to Baylor, they're going to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into how they would, but
sure.
Tragically, he was involved in as the murder victim, and but yeah, it's really a tough deal, and and actually, years later, the coach at Baylor now is Scott Drew, one of my closest friends.
Okay.
And they're going to be top 3 in the country this year.
Okay.
And it took a while to rebuild that program, but Baylor is, Baylor basketball, man. Those guys are smoking hot right now.
Absolutely. Yep. They play hard. Yep. Very good team. Yep. Athletic team all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Man. Hey, so Coach, you talk about you've been at ESPN for 18 years. I want to talk about your experience at the TBT. That experience, because I think that was really groundbreaking, your experience there, because you guys were kind of like the guinea pig, of this whole coronavirus deal, before the NBA. You guys were the people in front of that first.
Yeah, well, Russ, I'm a basketball junkie. Okay?
Yes.
That's a given, okay?
Yep.
From the playgrounds of Kelly Park in Flatbush as a 14-year-old, asphalt court,
right,
metal backboard, no nets. I've always been a basketball junkie. Walt Clyde Frazier's my idol. Earl the Pearl. I go back. I'm old enough now to remember when those guys were great players.
Yes.
So I'll do anything on TV for ESPN that involves basketball. Women, WNBA, NBA draft, international, college. So about 6 years ago, a guy came up with this idea to run a summer tournament. One and done. Winner take all, team gets $1 million. And then we jumped it up to $2 million and 64 teams. And of course, ESPN put it on. Now, great idea. All the guys that normally play in the TBT are still in their prime.
Yes.
DJ Kennedy still going strong at 29 or 30, making like $500,000 a year in Europe, but playing for overseas elite. So every year, the idea itself as summer basketball was a great idea.
Absolutely.
One and done, knockout, winner take all. 64 teams, 63 get a donut. One team shares $2 million. Right?
Man.
So this year, then the Elam ending, right? That you saw in the NBA All-Star game.
Yep.
Another kind of cool idea. This year, the bubble. We proved it. First really big sporting event to come back from coronavirus in a bubble, and we had just a great run. And little secret here, the tournament was in Columbus.
Okay.
The announcers were in a studio in Indianapolis.
Really? Oh, so you weren't even there, huh, Coach?
I televised every game from a little studio in Indianapolis, Indiana, and they kept us safe. I was in my own little bubble, and it's a great idea to TBT. A lot of good ideas are coming out of it. Winner take all, Elam ending, and kudos to John Mugar and TBT for having all these great ideas. And we had another great event this year.
Yeah.
And hey, Travis Diener of Marquette. 37 years old, went to the Final Four with D Wade. Back in 2003. Finishing his career in Italy, kind of fitting, Golden Eagles, the Marquette alumni. Round of 16, they lose. Round of 8, they lose. Round of 4, they lose. This year, Darius Johnson-Odom, Dwight Bikes, 2 former NBA players. Travis Diener. And here's the beautiful thing, Russ. You watched it. These guys, for the most part, are still in their prime.
Yeah.
And they may not be NBA players every day of the week, but a lot of these guys have been there, they've tasted it, and they play at a high level, and they're really good players.
Absolutely. Man. Yep. Man, that TBT, man, was a great experience, Hey, I the way you presented yourself on there, Coach, I thought you were in the bubble. Man, I had no idea you were in Indianapolis. That's pretty cool.
Let me tell you a little secret. In 2016, I did the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. Olympic basketball, right?
Wow.
Marv Albert and Doug Collins handled the USA, and Fran Fraschilla handled all the other games. Well, Marv and Doug were in Rio, and I was in Stamford, Connecticut, calling the games.
You in Stamford, huh?
Yeah. All my friends were saying to me, how's Rio doing? How's Brazil?
Right.
What's the nightlife like? And I go, well, I'm at the Sheraton Hotel off of I-95 in Stanford right now, and I'm about to walk down the street to, Ground Round. So I'll tell you later.
Oh, man. That is funny.
So I mean, by the way, for your listeners listening,
mm-hmm.
there'll be a lot of games broadcast this year, college and NBA, that will be done from a studio.
Okay, so from remotely then.
There will be some games done remote. Now, we saw how the NBA and ESPN kept the announcers safe in the bubble down in Orlando.
Right.
And I'm hoping to be in that kind of environment during the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably share a game from a studio somewhere this year. So,
oh, okay, cool. So you'll probably be like what do you do, like the Big 10 or the Big 12, don't you?
Yeah, Big 12. So we'll wait and see. But and some people will say, well, man, you're not going to be doing as much traveling. All I say, Russ, is given that it's a once-a-century pandemic, I'll just be glad if we have college hoops.
Yeah. You're right about that, Coach. You're right about that, man. So before that, so I know the NBA draft is going to be coming about. Are you going to do the draft this year, Coach?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
They've changed some things around with Woj coming on board. He's brought a couple guys with him.
Okay.
I love the draft. I study the draft.
Yeah, and Coach, let me tell you too, Coach. Like for the people listening, Coach Fran for the international flavor. Coach, you break it down. Coach, I don't know where you get your tidbits from, but like Coach is like, he'll tell you like, hey, this guy here, he opens a can with his left hand, but he's a righty. All type of stuff, Coach. I don't know how to get that information, man, about those European players and the pronunciations of their names. Coach, you just do it up there, man.
No, I love doing it. And if they, again, we've made a couple changes. I hope to keep doing the draft. I've had an all-star run, really. I'm very proud of the work I've done. If they use me, great. ESPN, that's up to them. Mm-hmm. But I still talk to teams about players. I've done some Zoom calls with NBA prospects, and I'm teaching them NBA pick and roll.
Wow.
So I'm very active behind the scenes right now with the draft.
Wow.
I talked to one team this morning about a handful of guys. So I stay on top of it, Russ, because if ESPN says, hey, I need you to do this, I'm ready to go. Right now, they got bigger fish to fry the next 2 weeks, if you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely. So, I do.
So we'll see. But I'm prepared for the draft. I'm also prepared for the start of college basketball.
Cool. Couple of things, Coach. We got Matthew. He wants to know your take on, what's your thoughts on the virtual NBA draft combine? Do you know much about that?
It's going to be tricky because you can't see the guys in person, and the teams that will have success with this draft are teams that really got out in front on their homework and saw these kids when they were in high school. If they're one and dones, they saw them this year quite a bit. The GM saw them. They did the background on the kids, whether they're good kids or not. Are they hard workers? If you're going to draft Tyler Hero, you want to know, is this kid a gym rat?
Yeah.
And we know the answer, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We do.
So like if Pat Riley's going to bring a kid into the Miami Heat, does he have the mental toughness to understand, like, we work here, okay? Yeah. And so, a lot of teams have done their homework, and some haven't. And, like, every year, like, if you're the Sacramento Kings, come on, how do you take Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic? Come on, man.
Yeah, no.
As Joe Biden would say, as I get you ready for debate tonight,
yes.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. What are you doing?
Or as Keyshawn would say, come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway, so, hey, some teams just don't do their homework.
This is true.
And so other teams do. So the virtual combine will be an issue, but the best teams, and I've talked to a few of them, they've already done their due diligence.
Cool. There you go, Matthew. See, there you go, my man, Coach Fran. Break it down for you, man. Break it down any way you want it. Any type of ball, if we talk about in the parks in Brooklyn, all the way to the NBA. Coach Fran will break it down for you. We have Jacqueline joining us, my Jasper sister joining us. And also, Coach, we have on here the all-time winningest player in Manhattan College history. We have Jamal Marshall joining us here today.
Oh, man. Oh, you know what? How can we talk about all those guys without talking about the big fella?
Yes, the big guy.
How many mid-major coaches, how many mid-major first-year coaches get a guy who's a high major 6'10" center?
Yes.
Think about that.
Man.
And see, I had history with Jamal because his high school. By the way, the reason he could handle me so well is because his high school coach was 10 times crazier than me. and honestly, I say this, Jamal will probably chime in here. His high school coach is, in my mind, I've been around this game for 50 years. His high school coach is one of the 5 best coaches ever that I've been around. Think about that, what I just said, okay? Bill Self, U.B. Brown, who I love, Rick Pitino, you name them. I've been around a lot of great coaches.
Yeah.
Jamal's high school coach, Mike Leonardo, is one of the best I've ever been around. And so when I inherited Jamal, I think it was his
sophomore year. Right, yeah. Because I always tell Jamal this all the time. Now, Jamal breaks his wrist in the MAC tournament. And I always say, Jamal, man, you cost me a MAC you cost me a MAC tournament championship, my man. But we always joke about that.
Well, Jamal was a high major center. We were lucky to have him. And then, of course, he played hurt at the end of his career with plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
But Jamal, Jamal was one of those guys that he'd already heard it all from his high school coach. So my stuff just rolled off his back.
Right.
It just rolled off his back. He looked at me like, this dude is crazy.
Yep.
But I don't care, So, but the one thing I remember about Jamal is when you got him alone in a serious moment and you needed to talk to him.
Yeah.
He always had the pulse of the team.
Yes.
He always had the pulse of the team. So I can remember going. He may not remember this, but I remember going up to him and going, "Hey, what do you think? You think we need to take a day off or go a little lighter tomorrow?" And go, "Coach." He go, "Coach, guys are tired, man. Guys are tired." So I would say, "Well, yeah, you're always tired. You don't even want to practice, but tell me the truth." He goes, "No, Coach. Seriously, guys are tired. I think it would help us." And so I would listen to him because he had a good sense of the team.
Yeah, Jamal chiming in, which is good by Jamal. Jamal says, he says, "I don't know all the coaches, but I will put Coach Lee up there." He says that.
Jamal's going to hear this, and I'm going to tell Jamal because he knows how he feels about Coach Leonardo, who is. But I can just tell Jamal this, and this is a fact. I would not say this because I value what I know about the game, but his high school coach is one of the 5 best coaches I've ever been around in my entire life.
Man.
Period. Wow. And his name is Mike Leonardo. He's retired now.
Man. Jamal also said, he goes, "Yes, he prepared me for all of the craziness of coaches." That's what Jamal said.
He did. Coach Lapis, Coach Lapis and I, compared to his high school coach, are like Brad Stevens. Just telling you.
Yep.
Cool, calm, collected. But in all honesty, no. His high school coach was not a wild, raving maniac on the sideline. He was just a very, very, very intense, precise. You do it this way, or you just don't ever come back.
Yeah.
And he trained. To your point, Russ, he trained Jamal to be a freshman at Manhattan and play right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, honestly, Jamal could have played in the Big East, really.
Definitely.
Honestly, conditioning and his feet would have been an issue. But when healthy, Jamal Marshall was a Big East center, no doubt about it.
No doubt about it, and that's why he's the all-time winningest coach at the school in the school's program history, man. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Yep. We got Al joining us too. What's going on, Al? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Hey, Coach, now I want to test I know you're born and bred, in Brooklyn, right? So I want to test your Brooklyn skills right about now, Coach. So now, you know how you have these top 5, they say, who's the top 5 greatest, this and that and the third. So, Coach, I want to play this with you a little bit, Coach. I want to break down your top 5 Brooklyn ballers. Also, I want you to give you your top 5 all-time Brooklyn rappers. I know you can do it, Coach. And then finally, we're going to break down your top 5 Brooklyn eateries.
Oh, man. Okay.
Which one you want to go with first, Coach?
We got to start with the eateries.
Okay, let's do the eateries first. Brooklyn eateries. Okay.
But now, listen, you got to understand now, I'm from South, so I'm thinking down there by, Sheepshead Bay, Coney Island.
Right.
So I got to definitely I definitely got to go. Nathan's. We mentioned it earlier, but there's nothing better than a Nathan's hot dog.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you got a place down there on Nostrand Avenue, and you could take the B41, by the way, from Sheepshead Bay all the way up into Crown Heights.
Okay.
And did that, and I did that. But there's a place called Roland Roaster. Okay.
Okay.
Down there in Sheepshead Bay, the greatest roast beef ever.
Wow.
Then you got great roast beef at Brennan and Carr on Avenue U in Marine Park.
Okay, there we go.
Home of Chris Mullen.
Okay.
And then, every neighborhood in Brooklyn's got to have its own pizzeria.
Yes, absolutely. Got to have that. What you got, Coach?
So I got a place called Trio on 19th Street and Avenue U.
Man.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And then I think I got to think of something. Well, I'm going to throw this out there for the Fort Greene people, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna throw out there Juniors.
Juniors, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to throw that out there. Okay,
there we go. Okay.
So now we got to go to now we got to go to the players.
Okay? Let's do players. Your top Brooklyn players.
Well, let's do the rappers first.
Okay, let's do rappers first. Okay, who you got?
I got to go. Come on now. You got to go with. I got to go with Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, Big Daddy! What? Hey, Coach, you surprised me on that, Coach. I love it. Yes, Big Daddy Kane.
For the females out there, I got to go Lil Kim.
Oh, okay. You include Little Kim. Okay.
Okay. Then I go. Listen, you got to go Jay-Z.
Jay-Z,
okay?
yes. He's the pinnacle. He's on Rap more.
Jay-Z's LeBron.
Yes.
Jay-Z's LeBron. You got to go Jay-Z.
Yes.
And then I got to go old school here with you. I got to go Jam Master Jay.
Ooh. Well, hold on, Coach. Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there, Coach.
Go ahead.
Now, Jam Master Jay is a Queens guy, Coach.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a Queens guy. Yup, Jam Master Jay. That's the Queens guy. So we can't put him in the mix.
Double check that because I thought he was a Brooklyn guy. Maybe he grew up in Queens.
Maybe I could be wrong. I mean, I know Run DMC is from Queens. Maybe he made the commute to Queens. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. So that's I'm gonna yeah. No, for sure.
But you're missing one more guy though, Coach. You got to get this one guy from Brooklyn. You got to get the King of New York in there. He has to be in the list, Coach. You're missing one more guy who he teamed up with Little Kim.
Tell me, man. It's slipping my
mind. The Notorious B.I.G.
Oh yeah, Biggie.
Yeah,
man. Oh, for sure.
Okay.
No.
Oh man.
Now, hey, you got to remember something. Had all our crew from Queens, they were St. John's guys back in the day.
Yeah.
Those original rappers, man.
Yeah.
They were all St. John's fans because they came up in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
With Walter Berry and that crew,
Yeah. But what about Run Jam Master? No, not Jam Master. Run DMC. DMC. Devastated Mind Control. What was that line he had? I went to St. John's University, right? Remember he talked about that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, those guys, they were Run DMC was like. They were just like the St. John's mid-'80s teams.
Absolutely.
I mean, people looked up to them and wanted to be like them. So
yes.
They set the trend, if you will.
No
All
doubt.
right, now Brooklyn basketball.
I know this is a tough one, Coach.
No, I'm going to tell you something now. There'll be some argument here.
Okay.
But I'm going to have to go, and I'm going to miss a couple here, but I'm going to go old school and start off with the great Connie Hawkins.
Connie Hawkins, yes, the
Connie Hawkins. If you want to know, young people out there, you can Google him, you can YouTube him.
Yep.
Connie Hawkins was Dr. J.
Yep.
He was the Greek Freak.
Yep.
He was Vince Carter before all those people. Connie Hawkins, and Connie Hawkins was he got it foul. He got sideways with the NCAA, so
yeah,
he had to go the long route to the NBA. But those of us who grew up in Brooklyn, we're going to give much respect to Connie Hawkins.
Absolutely.
He was Dr. J and Giannis before those guys were ever on the scene.
Yep.
Okay?
Definitely.
Number 2, I got to go with a kid from my neighborhood I've known since he was 14. The left-hander was, he was whiter than Elmer's glue. Chris Mullin.
Chris Mullin. Okay.
Got to go Chris Mullin. Okay?
Wow, Chris Mullin. I mean, a fun fact about that, coach, is, I went to Powell Memorial Academy for 1 year, which school closed. Chris Mullin went there, and then he transferred to Zavarian. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I got to go. Those two started off for me.
Okay.
And then I got to go with Pearl.
Pearl Washington. There we go, coach. Yes, Pearl Washington.
You got to go with Pearl, man. I mean, he was ahead of his time. He was one of a kind.
Yes, absolutely.
So Pearl would be in that mix as well.
Okay.
So let's see. I gotta think about that now. So Kenny was from Queens. Mm-hmm. Kenny Anderson.
Yeah.
I just can't go. Oh, Bernard King.
Oh, Bernard King.
Bernard King.
Hey, coach. I don't know if you saw, like 2 weeks ago, we had Larry Farmer on the show, right?
Yeah.
And he broke down, because we were talking about, he knew, Michael, I think it was Michael Warren, I believe it was, who he played with at UCLA.
Yeah.
He was an actor. And Larry Farmer was telling us how he played in my favorite movie, Fast Break, with Bernard King.
Yeah.
And Larry was telling us the story how he was in the movie. Actually, Larry Farmer's in the trailer because he punches one of his teammates. So he was in the movie, but we were talking about Bernard King, how great Bernard King was.
Oh, Bernard King, man, he was great. Great. So I got a good crew right so far, right?
Yes, so far so good. I like it. All
right, so I'm gonna miss somebody here, but I gotta go with a home. I can go Sidney Green, I can go some others.
Yeah.
But I gotta go with a kid I've known since he was 3 years old. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew his family, I knew his dad, I knew his older brothers.
Oh, I know who you're gonna talk. I know who you're saying, Coach. I know who you're gonna say.
Yep, and I gotta go with the great Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury, yes.
And now, we could have gone World Be Free.
Ooh, World Be Free, that's right, yeah.
We could have gone some other guys.
Mm-hmm.
I could have. I'm gonna miss on some people. You'll hear about. I could have gone Albert King.
Oh,
by the way, I played against in high school.
Did you?
I played against Albert King. I played against Vinnie Johnson.
Ooh, Vinnie Johnson too, man. Yep.
And I played against Rolando Blackman.
Rolando Blackman as well. Oh my God.
So I could have gone with any of those guys, but I got to go with. I could have gone with Fly Williams.
Fly Williams. What about the great line with Fly Williams when he played for Austin P when they used to chant, "The fly is open, let's go P." Oh my God.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with Steph as my fifth starter.
Steph, man. Yeah.
That's my crew.
Yeah, Steph Marbury was a guy who you couldn't really compare him to anybody else, that guy. I mean, the way he played, everything, everything, how he's a god in China, great documentary on him recently.
He's had a great run. He had a great NBA career.
Yep.
He had some highs, a couple lows, but then he's reinvented himself in China. He's like the biggest thing in China. He's as big as the Great Wall, man.
I know.
It's him and Yao Ming in China.
Yeah, yep. It's amazing, man. Totally amazing. Yep. I like your list, Coach. I like your list in all fronts. I mean, from the eateries to the rappers, we got to research that Jam Master Jay thing because maybe he is from Brooklyn. Maybe he commuted. I guess I don't know.
He might have. Now I think he grew up in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I think he grew up in Jamaica, but I have a feeling. We've got to check on that.
Okay.
Now listen. Speaking of Eden, I got to get to Eden soon before this debate.
Oh, I know. Yes, that's right. It is getting late. So I got two more questions for you, Coach, man, before you run. I appreciate having you too, man.
Shoot.
Hey, question for you. And here's a question. You probably never been asked this question, Coach, but what is the toughest thing about being Fran Fraschilla?
Oh man, I never heard that question.
You like that, huh, Coach? There we go.
There's no tough thing about being me. I mean that. You didn't make me think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in their life has adversity that they have to overcome.
Right.
Me getting fired at St. John's, for example, when I was literally, could have been like John, John Calipari and Bill Self, Tom Izzo. They were all my contemporaries.
Yeah, yep.
They're some of my closest friends. I've known John Calipari since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And we were counselors at Dean Smith's basketball camp,
Mm-hmm.
And so I look back on it. There's nothing tough. Yeah. I've had a great life, honestly. I always tell my wife, Meg, I said, listen, I've had an incredible. I had a great childhood growing up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money, 9 people in the family, but I'm a product of my childhood. I'm a product of who I married.
Yeah.
I'm a product of my kids, my career. Mm-hmm. Russ, I have not worked a single day in my life.
I know, man. I can hear it in your voice, Coach. I can hear it in your voice, my man.
Honestly, have I had adversity? Absolutely. Hard times? Sure. My mom was 83. She just passed away in June.
Oh, man.
But she had a blessed life. She had a great life. She really did. We sent her off exactly the way she wanted. And so, no, I look back on my life, and there's things I would certainly wish. I lost my dad when I was 26. He had a heart attack at work in Manhattan. So that came suddenly. But nothing tough about being me, because I've had a great life so far. Seriously.
That is great, Coach. That's great. We got Janine joining us, my Jasper sister joining us here. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Everybody, welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Hey, Coach, last question for you before we get you out there on the debate trail. See, I'm hoping Biden has the fight in which you have, which you display on the sidelines and on the TV screen as well. Let's hope Biden comes up big like that tonight too. But
it's going to be an interesting night. We know that it's going to be reality TV.
Yes, absolutely, to the 10th power.
So we'll but go ahead. Fire away. One more.
Yep. Last one, Coach. What do you think when it's all said and done? What do you think your legacy is going to be, or is?
Oh man. You know what? I just want to be a good father, husband, and mentor. And there's things I wish I could have done differently. I wish I had some closer relationships with players. Now what I do is I love the game so much. Well, first of all, being a great father and husband are 2 really important things to me. But also being a great mentor, Russ. And at a stage in my life where I've spent the entire lifetime in the playground of life. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't cured cancer or the coronavirus or solved the Middle East peace. I've just been a basketball junkie, and what I try to do now is be a great mentor to young coaches and players.
Yeah.
And give back. And here's what I would tell you. I can't pay back all the people that helped me with my life and where I got to, but I can pay forward. And so I try to pay forward. A young coach needs some advice, needs some help. Coach is losing, in a losing streak, calls me up, Coach Fran, what do you think? I'm here for them because I want to be a mentor and I want to share my knowledge.
Yeah.
And so even though I've been in the playground of life, this stupid orange leather ball, I want to be a great father, a great husband, and a great mentor.
Yeah, and I'm a testament to that, because I see how you are when you talk to Chris. When his TV, analyzing deals and everything. Like, I know how you're a big mentor to him as well, man. So yeah.
Well,
man.
I've been around. I've been blessed in my life, and so you just want to share what you learned and you pass it on. And you know what? When the good Lord takes me home, I hope it's not for another 30 years.
Yeah.
So far, I would say this. So far, so good.
So far, so good. So far, so good, man. Hey, Coach, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. Transition Tuesdays, it's been great. I was so excited about hearing your top fives and the eateries, hip hop and basketball. Coach, I was always impressed by it, Coach, but that knowledge right there, I am totally impressed with that information that you gave today.
All I got in my head right now is a little Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
There you go.
New York. I can hear it right now.
Right. So, there we go. Yeah, cool.
all good, Russ. It's always a pleasure, man. When they cut us open, we both bleed green.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate what you've done for the university and Manhattan basketball. You're a true Hall of Famer, and glad to share some time with you tonight, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Coach. Appreciate you. Tell Meg I said hello too as well. And I want to get you guys both on the show in a future Transition Tuesdays broadcast, okay?
She chickened out.
I know. She said she wouldn't. She told me I'm not good at these things. I said I know you'll be phenomenal. So we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you on there.
We'll do it.
We'll do.
Russ, all the best.
All the best to you, Coach. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Okay. Bye bye. That was the great Fran Fraschilla joining us today. Oh man, lovely, incredible, man, incredible stuff. I'm blown away by the knowledge of Coach Fran and the eateries, the hip hop, man. Oh God, and basketball players for Brooklyn. Man, he had a good list there. It was a super good list, man. Oh man. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do here? We transition to different spots. You know, when we go from interviews, now we're going to talk about current events. And Coach Fran talked about it. He touched upon it about the debates, the presidential debates. It's kind of like a versus battle that's going to take place between Trump and Biden tonight, the presidential debates. I recommend everybody watch that, take a look at that, and see what goes on. Hopefully we'll find out probably a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna be crazy. Then probably gonna be must-see TV. So it's be good to watch it. You know what I mean? I'm sure I would imagine at this time, no one's undecided on who they're gonna vote for. Either you're gonna vote for Biden or Trump, I would imagine. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna be interesting to see how Biden deals with this particular debate with number 45. So we got Terry Joy. What's going on, Cookie? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Love having you. Okay, so this debate should be pretty interesting here, man. This versus battle here to the 10th power here. And on my show I give away game plan steps or GPSs, right? So I want to give Biden some GPSs to have a successful debate. And I got 3 GPSs for Biden today. The first one is, GPS number 1 is, come with the energy. Now, all along, 45 has been telling Biden, you're Sleepy Joe and everything. And I last saw Biden when he about to be introduced to a panel. I saw him running up there a little bit. So he's trying to get his energy up. So today, Mr. Biden, future president, you got to come with the energy with this guy. You got to match this guy's energy and intensity. So that's the first GPS. GPS number 2, you got to come with the fight. Okay, Biden, come with the fight. Now, if you remember, and if we all remember, maybe a year or 2 ago, we remember Biden talking about how Trump, if he had Trump, he would take him out back, and lay the wood to him, okay? That's the fight that I need to see tonight. That's the fight I need to see tonight. Matter of fact, I think he should go all out. This is what Biden should do. He should bring up that little time and we talked about, hey, look, if I had you out back, I'll take you out back. He should say on national TV, not only am I going to kill you on the stage today, but I'm also going to beat your ass on the stage. I'm going to beat your ass in the back when we're done here too. So come with the fight, Biden, okay? GPS number 2. And then GPS number 3, guys, that Biden has to do to have a successful debate here tonight is be presidential. I know I talked about all that other stuff, but again, it's all about being presidential in your approach here tonight with this debate. Because America, we're looking for a leader, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that. We're looking for a leader here. So Biden is going to have to answer the question in terms of being presidential. He's going to have to answer this question, like, what is going to be the first thing you're going to do when you take over in February? He has to have, a great answer for that. And probably the answer has to be either you're going to take care of the COVID-19 situation or how you're going to handle the economy or the social injustice and unrest that's going on in this country. How are you going to take care of that? What's going to be the first thing that you're going to try to rectify when you become president? So that's becoming presidential. So Biden, I know it's going to come up pretty shortly, like another 30 minutes. You take care of these 3 GPSs, you'll be all good during that time, during the presidential debates. I'm rooting for you, Joe. You can't be Sleepless Joe tonight. You got to lay the wood. You got to lay the wood, show them what you're not here to play, John. You're not here to play, Biden. Let's take care of business. I know you can do it. The whole country is counting on you to do this, all right? Hey, so ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, or think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. Okay. As I gonna play my theme music here. Cue it up here. My apologies. 1 second. Oh, that's why. Because I had it on mute. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you watching Transition Tuesdays. Appreciate you guys each and every week that you guys come aboard to check us out. If you haven't followed me, please follow me on Instagram at rwilltransitions. Would love to have you on board. Also, if you haven't got my book, Transition Game Plan, Simple Steps to Achieving Personal Success, you can do that. You can go to Amazon.com, get yourself a copy. If you got one copy, get yourself another copy, okay? And also, I can sign the book for you and get it to you. Just inbox me. I can get that for you. I would love for you to have a copy of my book, Transition Game Plan. I want to shout out to Coach Fran Fraschilla for coming on today. Lovely guest, man. Oh, my God. Brooklyn's finest, man. All that knowledge and everything, man. Man, great stuff having Coach Fran on. We got to have Coach Fran on again, man. We definitely got to do that. We got to make that happen. Also, guys, looking at the picture right there, right? See that picture right there? Again, my daughter, who's an artist, Art by Anissa. If you go to Facebook, get some of her portraits, man. They're going fast, so take a look at it. Art by Anissa, Anisa. Check it out. Check it out. My artist, my queen at work. She's an artist and she's doing great things, man. So get a chance to check that out. Please do. If you missed this episode and other episodes, you can go to my YouTube page on Transition Tuesdays and you can catch each and every episode that we have done. So I'd love to see you there if you missed us here this time. But we'll run it back, on Facebook Live. We'll do a watch party as well after this when we're done. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we always say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the debate. And we're going to talk about the debate next week, all right? So don't miss it tonight. Take care, guys. One love.